Hey, Nicole Huntsman, your astrologer from moderncosmic.com. On this video series, we're going to talk about the South Node of the Moon. And in particular, we're going to look at how the South Node holds some secrets or some perhaps illumination about the past relationship information you're bringing forward with this person. Now, this could be from one life, it could be from multiple lives. It's more the themes that you're bringing forward, okay? So as we look at the South Node, many times we will see a story unfold, but mainly really focus on the themes, the thematic elements. Now, the way you're going to do this, if you're unsure of how to find the South Node, what you're going to do first, go to astro.com. You need to draw up a Davison chart. This is what we're going to use for this exercise. You can use a composite, but I prefer the Davison. The Davison chart is simply a chart that takes the midpoint of your birth dates, it's that date in the middle, your birth times, the time in the middle, and the actual locations, the latitude and longitude between the two locations you were born. So this is its own little chart, and this is an actual chart that happened on a day in history at an actual place. Might be like a farm field out in the middle of Idaho, but whatever, it's an actual place. And then you can take that chart and you can do progressions, and you can do solar arcs, and you can do solar returns, etc., with this. So this chart shows you the relationship's purpose. And in that purpose, it shows you the past, things that have been brought forward from the past, and the future, what the point is. Why are you together in this life? For what purpose? And it shows you how this will unfold. Very helpful, because you can then see areas where you are blocked as a couple and areas where you excel. And also, we're headed in this direction, but maybe we should be headed in this direction. Maybe we're trying to make this into a marriage, but maybe we're just supposed to be friends, or etc. Now, with the South Node, also when you're drawing up that chart, I forgot to mention, click on the box that says descending node. Use descending node, okay? That will allow this to pop up on the chart. Otherwise, it's just going to be exactly opposite the North Node. The North Node looks kind of like a little horseshoe. It's like a little upside down horseshoe, as someone mentioned in a comment on the video earlier. With your South Node, make a note. It's easiest if you write it down, if that way you can, or else this can get kind of confusing. So first write down the zodiac sign that the South Node is in, okay? Then write down the house placement. Okay. Then you're going to look at the ruler of the zodiac sign of that South Node and the ruler of the natural ruler of the house that this South Node is falling into. All right. Find those, locate those two planets, and you can do the same thing with those planets. But make a note of each time you move. Let's say the ruler of the South Node is the moon. Go to the moon, look at the zodiac sign that it's in. Let's say it's in Aries. Okay, let's say it's in the third house or something. Make a note of that, and then move on to Mars and where it's located. And you can just keep doing this until you hit a dead end, like you return to a planet you've already looked at. Now, with this information, this gives you a full arsenal of forensic data that you can then create a picture with that can tell you a little bit of backstory. If you've got a relationship too, by the way, look at the South Node and how it relates to each individual's chart. Very important. South Node is, it's the theme. It's the theme from the past that's being brought forward. And many times, if this is a significant relationship, you're going to see it relating to each person's chart, okay? In particular, sun, moon, angles, or the angular houses. Those are really important. As well as, it can be the personal planets too, but really you want to see the luminaries of one person's chart and the South Node, or the ruler of the South Node of the relationship, talking to each other, of both people's charts. I'm sorry, I'm being confusing. Okay, now we're going to go on. Each video, I'm going to just talk about each of the zodiac signs, the South Node. We'll talk about the key themes. We'll talk about what that relationship looked like thematically, and then the lessons that are to be brought forward in this relationship that relate to the North Node. Okay? And let me know if you have questions. All right, on to the South Nodes through the zodiac. All right, Aries or first house composite South Node. So mainly we're going to focus on the South Node's zodiac sign when we talk about these, but the house placement as well. So you can blend these things together, okay? So if you've got an Aries South Node or a first house South Node, your key theme was, as a partnership, us against the world, okay? Remember, this is Aries, which is the individual, but we're talking about the relationship. So it was this coupling, it was them as an entity against the world around them. So with this, we can see themes of, and also first look at Mars. You're gonna look at Mars. by sign, house placement, aspects being made to Mars, and you can also look at the sign that Mars is in, look at its ruler. You can go on a little journey from ruler to ruler to ruler, and you'll start to sort of unfold a bit of a story here, okay? Now, with Aries, what we've got as far as themes, there's this definite sense of fighting together to survive a crisis, or to pioneer something, to set out in a way that's never been done before. So there's kind of this idea of bold new beginnings and being courageous and competitive and fiery. So now, couples that have this, a lot of times there is this element of them struggling. It makes me think of truly of pioneers, people that are struggling out in the world alone, the two of them. It's them against Mother Nature, it's them against society. It can also be military. Aries is quite a military zodiac sign. It's the warrior. So this could be a couple that came together for military reasons. You just look at the house placements. If it's an Aries, if you've got an Aries South Node that's in the 4th house, though, well, I guess if that Aries South Node's conjunct, if you've got a conjunct Mars or something, then you definitely would know this is perhaps a relationship that had to do with battle, actual physical battle of some kind. Otherwise, it could just be more metaphorical. Okay, so now what this means is the lesson to be brought forward in this life is we are learning how to treat each other and other people with trust. So it's trusting each other and asking for help, learning how to collaborate, not always having to feel like it's us against the world or us against each other. It's kind of us instead moving together, equally yoked out in the world around us. There's also, with Aries, there can be the tendency to flee. When there's a crisis, just to run away from it. And even though in the past it was a couple that they were together fighting something, in this life, the memory of fleeing could just be held for each individual person. So they may have this desire to kind of, when the going gets tough, just kind of head in different directions. So learning how to, instead of do that, come together and work through things, collaborate, compromise, all of these sort of Libran. This is a Libran North Node. So I will talk about North Nodes in a different video, but that's just a brief explanation of what it is that you guys can work on together. Some other things I have some notes here. I want to make sure I don't forget. What else did I say? Oh, also this idea of they could be isolated from one another even. So if you've ever seen Interstellar, at the very end when that closing scene when Dr. Brand has returned, she's there at that planet terraforming, and she's like the Eve, right, by herself, surviving the wilderness. And little does she know that Cooper is on his way to come help her. So that's so she's by herself surviving, and then he's also coming to rescue her. That's very Aryan as well. Aries is very much about they need a purpose and a mission. And then they're going to come together, and they together will have this mission to terraform this new world, or, bring civilization to this new world, hopefully starting they're in essence the Adam and Eve of this planet. So that's a very Aries South Node, okay, as an example. Okay, if you have questions, post them below. Thanks for watching. If you'd like a relationship reading where we can go into your South Node in depth, just you can book it over at my website. Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye.